All right, so this is Child Development 61, and we are in week 4, and it's chapter 7 through 9. Okay, so today or tonight, we're going to be talking about motor skills, cognition, and language, and then we're going to practice learning story. So, how has it been going with the learning stories? Like, do you need more examples, or do you have enough in Canvas?
I think we have enough in Canvas, and I saw you posting the video too, and I'm pretty sure like you made it like pretty clear about what you expect us to do.
Oh, good.
So if everyone's watching that, I think it's pretty clear.
Great. This is like
Yeah.
my 4th time around, and so
Oh,
I'm trying to make
do
it
do they
better and
have
better.
hard time like
The
every?
first 2 were really hard. Even last semester was half hard,
Oh, okay.
but the first 2, man, it was. I didn't know if people were going to get it like on the last day, the day of the final. I wasn't sure they were going to get it. So, and I had people show up for the final and present the wrong learning story
Oh no.
because they didn't read the directions, and so they presented the week 3 learning story instead of the one they were working on the whole time. And it's because they did all the assignments at the end of the semester. And I said, didn't you notice that it was like kind of repetitive? And they're like, no. So, yes. So ignore these dates.
Okay.
And this is just giving you a little preview of the rest of the semester. They slow down a lot because we're focusing on our learning story. And so you can tell we're not doing so many chapters all at once. And so it gets more manageable. And normally about this time, I check in and I ask students what they want to learn about or what they wish they learned and they haven't learned yet in this class. So, because this is supposed to be about growth and development. And so a lot of people want to know how you can tell what a baby's cry means, some diaper changing techniques, DRDP. But I think the more I show you how to do learning stories, then the DRDP part gets easier. And the difference between wants and needs. So, the baby's cry. So, when you spend a lot of time with one particular baby or one particular group of babies, over time, you'll figure out the different cries. You'll be able to tell. That's the only way I can say it. So sometimes the cry is I want to go to sleep cry. Sometimes the cry is I'm bored, or maybe the cry is I'm hot. Just over time you'll be able to get it. And that goes down to the wants and needs too. So up until now, I've been telling you, if the baby's crying, you pick up the baby. No matter what, if the baby's crying, you pick up the baby. So now we're into wants and needs. And so sometimes, once you figure out those different cries, you'll be able to tell if it's a want or a need. And there's a certain point in their development, kind of at about 6 months, when they start to, because before that it's only needs. And you meet those needs all the time. But as they get older and they develop, they just grow, they get to a point where they have wants and needs. And the most clear example of this is little kids. They want a cookie, but they don't need a cookie, right? And so, or maybe babies, they want that crinkly plastic, but they don't need that crinkly plastic, right? And so it's up to us to be able to tell what they're asking for, and then we decide if that's something that they need or that they want. Okay? So, So maybe they want you to hold them all night. And so you have to decide if that's a need or a want. Maybe they want to play at 2 o'clock in the morning. Is that a need or a want? So it's just up to you. Maybe they want their third bottle in an hour. Is that a need or a want? Generally, under 12 months, you give them whatever food they want. As long as it's healthy, right? And they get to eat as much as they want, as frequently as they want, if they're under 12 months old. And in general, children under 12 months old they get their main source of nutrition from milk. And so they get as much milk as they want. Now, if they're drinking so much that they're spitting it all up, then you want to give them less milk and more solids, right? So they can keep their food down if they're yelling for food. But if they're crying for food and you know that cry is the food cry, you give them the food. This is not the time to put any babies on a diet. We don't do that under 12 months. They get whatever they want under 12 months. Okay, and in general, little kids like under 3, you give them whatever healthy food that they want. And so this gets really, makes teachers uncomfortable, and they start thinking about, well, what's fair, right? Because the child who gets there first for breakfast will eat all of the breakfast, and there won't be anything left for the other children. And if that happens, it's time to talk to your director about sending more food to your room. You never want to say no to a child who's hungry, especially in the centers we are working in most of the time. They're low-income centers with children who are low income, and that may be the only healthy food they get. And so if they're hungry, we're going to feed them. And so you want to work with your head teacher or your director to make sure those children get the food that they need. So just in general, never turn down food. Now you can say, oh, we're going to give everybody a serving. So you can't have a second one until everyone gets the first one. Because especially if it's like a bowl of strawberries or something, they'll want the whole bowl. And so you want to teach them to take small servings, and they could just have many, many small servings. So they can learn to be able to feel their bodies, learn their body's cues, and know what it feels like to be full and stop eating when they're full. And children this age do not eat a balanced meal like an adult would. And so you want to look at a week's worth of eating. And so maybe Monday is cheese day, and they just eat cheese all day. And then Tuesday is bread day. And so you just don't worry about if they're eating too much bread or too much cheese. You let those children decide what they're going to eat. And it's our job to give them a variety of food. And so what you can say, because I hear a lot in the centers, they're like, oh, you can't have any more milk until you eat your sandwich. Or no more fruit until you eat your broccoli. Just let them eat whatever they want as long as it's healthy food. You shouldn't be offering unhealthy food, basically. You offer healthy food and you let them eat as much as they want in whatever quantities they want. But what you can do is you can say, oh, look, the strawberry bowl's empty. We don't have any more strawberries, but we do have some more broccoli. Do you want some broccoli? And so that's what you can do. You can, for every no, you give them a yes, right? So there's no more strawberries, but we have all these other plates of food that you can choose from. And so you want to give them as much choice and power that you have control over, right? So you can't go get another bowl of strawberries at $6 a basket, but we have all these bowls of other healthy food that they can choose. And so that's how, because I know that's worries teachers. I remember one of the teachers in my preschool room, the early bird, right? They get there as soon as you unlock the door in the morning. He ate half a loaf of bread just by himself. 3-year-old. And the teacher was concerned, and I'm like, just let him eat. Just let him eat. It'll be okay. They go through growth spurts. They just need, as long as it's healthy food, don't worry about it. Make sure you're offering a wide variety of healthy food, and it'll all be okay. Like I said, they're listening to their body's cues, and their body's telling them they're hungry. And so you let them eat. Okay, and then next on here, diaper changing. I think later in here, we have some diaper changing techniques in, and if we don't, let me see. This one is language. Okay, I think I'm going to have to stop for a minute, stop this screen share, and do the diaper changing part. Okay, so I'm trying to find a pretend baby. All right, so let's say this is a baby, right? Okay, so you say, even before you pick up the baby, is this in the book? Have you guys read this part yet?
Not me.
Not you? Okay. Okay, so this is so that you don't lose points for the ITERS, which is the infant toddler rating scale. And so they do not care if you wear gloves or not, but generally in California and San Francisco, we wear gloves, okay? And so before you pick up the baby, you go into the diaper changing area and you get it ready. So you lay out the paper and you pull out at least 2 wipes, sometimes 3, and you make a little pile and you put the gloves on, and then you go over to the baby. And depending on your center, I used to stand at the door of the bathroom and I would say, Landy, it's time to get a diaper, come on. And that baby would crawl right over. They'd run, or they couldn't run, right? They crawl all over, and I'd pick them up and I'd put them on the changing table. But sometimes I would, because as primary caregivers, we're making sure we're primarily taking care of the children in our group. That does not mean you're the only one. You're just doing it most of the time. And so if all of my primary children were busy playing, I would change a different child until mine were finished playing, or they were in a good place to stop, and then I would invite them in. Okay, so I got the baby, right? And we walk into the changing table area, and this is just my routine. You can make up your own routine, but I would say, oh, we need a diaper. Which one is yours? Oh, here's yours. Here's your color. You're a purple. Here's your color, Landy. Let's get your diaper. And then I'd say, you want to hold your diaper? And then they hold it. Okay, so then I lay them down. I'm going to lay you down, and then you lay them down, and they're holding their diaper. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I do it that way. One is, in the past, when I was a teacher, the kids kept getting diarrhea, and I didn't know why. And it was because the teachers were handing the children their diaper cream. It was their own personal diaper cream, but it still had poopy germs on it. And so they were getting sick from the diaper cream. So if they hold a diaper, it's clean every time, and they're not going to get sick. If more than 2 children are sick at the same time, there's something wrong with how you're running your room. And so that's something to think about. So I said, oh, wait, there's too many children sick at the same time. Something's wrong. And so we had to figure out what was wrong. But anyway, so the baby's lying there. They're holding their diaper. And then you just talk them through it. Okay, I'm taking your pants off. I'm taking your socks off. Now your dirty diaper. Or you can say your wet diaper. And then, so you take off the dirty, right? You use a wipe to clean the dirty. And then you take off your dirty gloves and throw away the dirty diaper and the dirty gloves. You hand a clean wipe to the baby, and you take a wipe yourself and you wipe your hands. And the baby is wiping their hands too. Usually they're with it. And then you throw those away and you get them dressed. Or you let the baby just keep holding on to that wipe while you get them dressed. And you talk them through it. Okay, we're putting your dry diaper on. And at this point, if they're old enough, if they're sitting up, if they can sit up or if they can walk. No, usually if they can sit up, I'll say, or they're close to 1, I'll say, do you want to sit on the potty before we put your dry diaper on? And they usually say no. I say, okay. And then I put their dry diaper on. And if you just say that every day, at some point they'll say yes and they'll want to sit there. And that's how you start that's how you start potty training without any pressure. You just give them access, you give them opportunities to choose, and when they're ready, they'll choose. And then and then you put their clothes on, you help them wash their hands, and then you put them in the play space, and then you come back and you spray everything. So you do the soap, you wipe it, and you spray it with a fine mist of bleach, and a fine mist of bleach over the sink, over the toilet, everything. And then you walk away. And so the routine is that it's getting sanitized between each person. So when you come in for lunch, it's ready. It's sanitized and ready. And that's how you keep people from passing things between each other. And if it's a fine mist, it's dry by the time the next one comes, which is a problem. So you never want to spray holding the baby. So new teachers do that all the time. They're holding the baby and they're spraying this bleach. Bad. No, don't do it. Don't do it. And that, and then they don't spray either that or they just skip spraying the whole bathroom. You need to spray the whole bathroom. And then that's it, right? And so that's the whole thing. It takes forever. And so often before COVID, I would take 2 or 3 at a time. And because it's a party for them, they love it. And so I'd have 2 or 3 in there. And so one would be sitting on the potty, one would be sitting on a little chair, having a good time, and then I'd be changing the other one. And so when you do that, then you can take as long as you want because you're not inconveniencing any of your teammates because you're covering your whole ratio with you. And so if you want to take 20 minutes in there, you can take 20 minutes in there. And no one's going to get upset with you. Unless there's only one diaper changing table, then they're going to be upset. Because often that diaper changing table is busy. But in general, especially if you're the last one in there and everyone else did their group, you can be in there as long as you want and it's not going to negatively impact anybody. And so then it's a great experience. And that's why they think it's a party in there because we're having a good time. So that's that. Let me see what else was on this list here. And DRDPs. Okay, so those are the main questions that people still want to know about at this point in the class. And relationship-based approach. Okay, so this is all about we're going to use caregiving routines as curriculum. So when you're changing a diaper, you're going to have a much more positive experience for both of you if you view that as curriculum. It's not just something that needs to be done. You're not maintaining somebody's life. They're learning something from that experience with you because children learn in the context of relationships. And this is a really important one. And so in Bright Horizons, they call it prime times. But it's caregiving routines. And so that's eating, sleeping, and diapering. Those are the caregiving routines. Okay, stresses, everyday activities, feeding, diapering, approach, focus on caregiving routines. Yes. And so that means if you're taking an hour to eat lunch, it's okay, because that's curriculum. They're learning a lot. They're learning how to take turns in a conversation. They're learning self-control. They're developing core strength in their body to hold their body up straight. That all takes practice. What else are they learning? They're learning their fine motor, everything. They're learning a lot. And so you don't have to hurry them when they're eating. They go slowly, then they fill up, and they're happier. They're happier when they're not hungry. They don't whine and complain if their stomachs are full. And they take better naps. And they're not fighting. I see in a lot of centers, they only let them have one plate of food, and then they get up, And then they're back 10 minutes later because they're not full. And so they have these kids like rushing the table all the time. And so then you're like trying to protect everybody else's food. And it's just stressful. So let them eat as much as they want. And then they go away and play. And it's so much more calm. There's just, they make a mess. Babies make a mess. So there's a lot to clean up. Okay, physical growth. And this is just straight out of the book. This is right out of the book. This is in the book. Everything that's in the book is in the quiz. There's a quiz this week. Myelinization. It's all in the book. So, it's like a electrical cord, right? So the brain connections are like the wire, and then the stuff on the outside is the myelinization part that protects the brain connections. And and so stress wears those down, and so we don't want to stress anybody out. We want to have everybody feel safe, because when you're stressed like that, then you go into survival and you can't learn, right? And so we want to keep everybody in a place where they can learn. Okay, motor development. This is straight out of the book. These are little friends making a lot of noise together. And this is, babies do this all the time. They're like cats. They go in little spaces, and they're experimenting with their spatial relationships. And and so that's what they're going to be doing. So if you know that about their development, you're not going to say, get out of the basket. That's for the books, right? You go, oh, look at you. You're in the basket. Look, you fit in that one. I wonder, do you fit in this one? What do you think? And then you do experiments with them. And so then you're helping them do some conceptual thought, because you're having them guess, right? You're having them think about something in the future and make a plan. That's all conceptual thought, and that's really good for the higher level thinking that we're helping children develop. And so if you turn everything into a learning, then you're going to have a good day, instead of policing the children all day. And then, like I said, it's a party. Okay. Reflexes. So, did I talk about how when babies are uncomfortable, they splay? Did I talk about that in this class?
Maybe it was the other class. I know we just talked about it in another class, but I don't.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll be quick about it. So when babies go out like that with their hands, that means they're not comfortable. They're not feeling safe. And so you may see them, and they may be lying there with their hands out, and it looks like they might be relaxed. Like if I'm relaxed, I look like that. But babies don't. That means they're not relaxed. Relaxed babies are like this. And often they're going like this because they don't really have control of their hands yet. So they're going like this. So when their arms are close to them, that's a relaxed position. And sometimes a lot of times you'll see their ankles are crossed. That's a relaxed baby. And so if you have a baby going like that, when you're changing their diaper especially, sometimes I put like a blanket over their stomach and their chest area, and then they'll go back down like that, they just want to feel a little bit more protection while you're changing their diaper. And that'll help them feel more comfortable. That helps a lot. So just be aware of the cues the children are giving you to let you know if they're feeling safe or not. And then it's up to us to adapt. So we're the ones who do the adapting, not the children. And so if we see children who don't feel safe, we want to adapt our practices and our response so that they do feel safe. Okay. This is all in the book again. All in the book. Locomotion is moving. This is all in the book. Okay, so this part is in the Foundations book. Okay, so the Foundations book, the Infant Toddler Foundations is what the children do, and the framework book is what the adults do. So the foundation books describe the developmental progress that children move through as they grow. And so tonight we're looking at the gross motor one and the language one, and I think cognition too. And so if you want more information, it's the purple section in the foundation book. Okay. And I don't have this movie, but I have another movie for you. And let me move on to this. Okay, so here's the movie I've got. So this one is from, this is from City College in the toddler side. Let me move it up so it's bigger. And the reason why I picked this is because this teacher is being very responsive, but new teachers would never do this. And so that's why I have it here. Trying to make this bigger, but it doesn't want to cooperate with me. Yeah, every time I pull it up bigger, it gets smaller. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna play this now. Can you hear it? Did you hear it just then? Okay.
You can't really hear it now. I think
They're not talking.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was like, did the volume down?
She's saying, you can jump, you can jump. Okay. So, what did you think about that video?
I could only hear the first part. You can jump, but I couldn't hear anything after that.
She was just describing things. It wasn't anything. She just said, oh yeah, there's a ball over there. There wasn't anything groundbreaking in what she was saying.
So she was encouraged him to...
But you see where he's standing? I don't know.
He was like
There. Oh, I can't get the thing to get out of the way. Oh, there it goes. You see where he's standing? And she's like, oh, okay, you're standing there. But she didn't make him get down or anything or say, be safe, put your feet on the floor. You know, she didn't do that. She let him stand up there. But you see, she put her body very close so that she could help if he needed some help. And that's exactly what toddlers need. They need that to... In the class assessment, they call it proximity. So they need you to get close to you. Or often, children this age will do better even if you're just standing next to them. Sometimes that's all they need. And they can like pull it together. So that's what she's doing. And so that was great for them. And so you want to create the illusion of risk. So we know that if he falls, he's not going to hurt himself. And so there's not really a risk. But for him, he thinks he's living on the edge. He's like, ooh, on the edge of danger. He's being really unsafe standing on the table there. And so that's what you want. You want to create the illusion of risk because that's how they're going to take the next step in their development. They take little risks, right? And so he's looking for the... Remember I talked about the boundaries, and children this age are looking for the boundaries. And so that's exactly what he's doing there. He's exploring his environment, looking for the boundaries. Okay, any questions about that?
No, I think it's great to have someone like that because I know like a lot of people, like the new teachers will be like trying to jump in and be like, okay, like stop. It's too
Yeah,
dangerous,
yeah.
don't do it.
Yes, and so this is not just my opinion. These are the people at City College doing this too. And so that's why I like using this one. Okay, next. So then we're back to the book again. And this is more from the foundation book. And more from the book. And this is another thing. Here they are sitting in another bin together. And they're very close together. And that's a lot of that is because they're because of continuity of care. And so they grow up together. They start out at 3 months old, all in the same room. And so they're like siblings. And so they like to play right next to each other. Because they're like I said, they're like a family. And we know, again, I'm going to say it again, they learn in the context of relationships. So they have these deep relationships with their classmates. And so they learn together. Okay. And this is straight out of the book, how you encourage small motor skills with self-help tasks and sensory experiences. This is all right out of the book. And I don't know what this is. Oh, these are some special ed resources. These are straight out of the book too. And then chapter 8 is the cognition section. That's the blue section in the foundation book. And I focus on this one because this one is hard for people to get when we're talking about babies. Like cognition for babies is hard. And so they gather and organize information. That's what cognition is for babies. Okay? So that's straight out of the foundation book, if you want more information about that. And so that's what I just said. And this is straight out of the book again. This is right out of the book. And so there's going to be a bunch of videos in Canvas. This is all in the book. Nothing new. And so I'm going to skip down here. You know, this is all in the book. And this one, I'm going to put this one in Canvas. I don't have that one teed up for you. And I'm looking for the part that's not in the book. All in the book. Nothing new. Okay, learning stories right here. Wait a minute. This is all in the book. Bilingual, all in the book. Okay, in general, for infants and toddlers, you want to use the home language as much as possible in the classroom. And I used to say everything 3 times. So I said it in English, I said it in the home language, and I said it in sign language. And depending on your school's philosophy and process, at some point they switch over to English only, or they switch over to Spanish or Chinese only, depending on how the school, what the policy is at that school. In general, they do that when they're 4, so that they can get ready for kindergarten. But for this age, you really want to validate the home language because it's part of the child's development of their sense of self. And so they need that. They need to, they need their home language validated because it's part of who they are. It's part of their identity. Okay. And so all of this, again, is in Canvas. And this picture I always pull out and I say, okay, so I took this picture. He did this right in front of me, just like that. And so if you see somebody doing this, what do you think a new teacher might say?
Stand like up straight.
They
Or sit on
say,
the bed.
they say, get down, get down. That's not safe. Get in line. It's time for lunch, right? And so I always pull this out and I say, you know, if you see someone having a moment like this, let them have their moment. Especially in a pandemic, you know, let them have their moment. He's living large, and you just want to support that. You want them to just be so happy to be alive, right? And that's what he's doing right there. He's just so happy, and so you want to just enjoy it with him, and then you can go get in line for lunch, right? So. And then this is in Canvas already. Learning story information. And this video, have you seen this one yet? I can't remember.
She's like helping the boy to put up.
Yes. So this is the video we're using for week 3 for your practice learning story. And I like this one. And the reason why I picked this one is because yes, she's right next to him again. She's using proximity to support him. But you can see she looks up and she scans the yard, and then she looks back at him. And then she looks up and she scans the yard. That's what an experienced teacher does. They don't focus on the one child with them. They check in with the rest of the yard. She always has her back to the wall or her back to the fence. She never puts her back to children. She's always ready to observe the children and make sure they're safe. And so a lot of new teachers don't do that. And so I thought I'd point it out. So you can look at that more in Canvas, because that one's in there. Okay. And then this is talking about the project, but I think it's more clear on Canvas. So I'm going to stop sharing this. So, do you have any questions? A lot of it is the book this week. Okay, so I have a Hey Did You Know. I'm ready this time. Let me go get it. I get. Okay. Oh no! Hold on, I picked up the wrong bag. I can't find it now. So what I was going to show you this week was this little tiny paint roller. You know, like the roller kind where you dip it in the paint, you roll it, and you roll it. And so they have some, and they're this big at the Dollar Tree. And it comes with a little tray, a little paint tray and a little roller, and it's $1. And that one's good for toddlers and preschoolers. And we put water in there, and you have them paint the cement, and so it'll change colors. And they love it. They'll do it over and over. So if it's warm enough, you give them a tray. I usually get a bigger bin because they use up a lot of water. But those little rollers, you need at least 4. A lot of kids like to do that all at once, and they'll fight and scream and cry. So you need several, and it's great. So they roll and roll and roll everywhere, and it doesn't matter because it's water, right? And so it's really good. They love it. They love it. So that was your Hey Did You Know for today.
I love this. I actually had him. I remember past a few weeks ago. It was a really sunny week, and then I had children have paintbrush and some sponges with water outside, and they were drawing on it.
Yeah.
And they were so happy about it.
Yes, yes. Or you can get like the toys in the yard. You can put them in the sensory bin with soap. Oh, can you clean these for me? I got to clean these up. Can you do that? And they're like, yeah. They start scrubbing.
It's nice. They get to play and the toys get really clean too.
Yeah, yeah. Or if you're doing project work, you can make it part of the project. Like sometimes they do it like community helpers or something like that, and so you put all the fire engines in there, and you have a car wash. That's a big one, the car wash. They like to clean the cars, and I've seen like that one where the kid going like that. He's having his moment. There, they pick up those rubber. They're like rocking horses, but they're blow up rocking horses, and they put those in the sensory bin, and so they're scrubbing these big horses. Those toddlers love it. So you can do a lot with those. And again, so that's good for multi-age classrooms, mixed ages, because no one's choking on that and no one will get bored with that. So it's a good one. And when they get for older children, you can really put paint on it even and give them a place to roll the paint. And it'll be a mess the first time, but it's just another experience, right? You want to give them lots of different experiences, and it won't break the bank. So, all right. Any other questions? Anything else that I'm missing?
No, I think you pretty much covered what we need to know.
So I just looked in.
I saw someone joining, but she's left.
They left. Yeah, yeah. In Canvas it says all this stuff about Teach for the Bay, and that's not. So I took it out. I took it out.
I was like, I clicked on it today, and then it was like, oh, it disappeared. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's not for you. So the only thing you guys have to do this week is the test, the quiz. And again, you can take as long as you want on the quiz. You can take it as many times as you want, and the computer will save the highest score. So it's just to make sure you have that information. It's not to make sure that you think critically about that information. Okay. Anything else I'm missing? I'm just going to make sure I published all this stuff, and it's like, why did I publish that? Because that is not ready. It is not good.
I don't know how you
it is not student ready.
Classes, and that's already amazing.
So
and you're doing online courses too, so I know it could be hard. So.
Yeah, so we're all working through this pandemic together, and so if it looks funny, it probably is funny, and it'll be fixed soon. So just keep working on your assignments, because nobody's caught up, or maybe they are, and I'm not caught up grading them all. This semester, there are better grades than usual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that's because I have a lot of returning students, and so they're like reading the rubric, and so they know what to write down, and so it's working out. And then I think, well, should I put all that stuff in the directions? Because if I make the directions too long, then nobody reads the directions. And so I'm like, well, I don't know how to help you.
I know, because you're already doing the thing, like what you can do already, but it's just like the people who's not doing it. So like, what can you do?
Well, I had a student tell me that. She said, well, can you just put the important stuff up at the top so I don't have to read that? It's like, okay. Yeah, so I'm doing the best I can. And so I try to make it really obvious, put things in bold, and then so you can, if you need to, you just read the bold. And if you want details about the bold, you can go into the paragraph, and that's all I can do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So that's all I have for this week. I'm going to stay with this other, I was going to say I'm going to stay with that person so that I could help them, but I guess they're still thinking it over. I have people click in all the time, so I'm going to say this in the video. Okay, you guys, I'm only here during the Zoom time. I'm not at the school. I'm not on campus. I'm not in an office somewhere with my Zoom on all the time. And so if you're not able to make it during Zoom time, then feel free to email me and I can make an appointment with you. But just clicking in to ask a question, I'm not there. So I just want to let you guys know that.
So they should use this opportunity too, like when you're here for us too.
Right. I'm trying my best to figure out how to be more interactive, and I think I'm going to get to the point where there's going to be a little video for each drop down tab, but it takes hours and hours, and so won't be this time, maybe next time.
Maybe next.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all for today. Gonna log off. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.